Are you scared of video? I mean, I think we all know for a fact that I am not scared to get on video in any context, in any place. But today's guest is going to help us with our fears of showing up in our business on video. Mariangelica, welcome to the Business First Creatives podcast. How are you doing this morning?
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Time of recording, this is episode 100 that has come out. And so I'm just celebrating you and celebrating this podcast. So congratulations. And I'm just so happy to be here.
Thank you, honey. So before we jump in, because I mean, I just cannot wait to share this goodness with the listening audience. Why don't you tell everyone who you are, where you're located, and what your specialty is?
Okay. So my name is Mariangelica Forero. I am based out of Kitchener, Ontario in Canada, the frigid north, just above everybody else. And I am a certified mindset and business coach. So I support my clients through not just business, but the mindset blocks that will come up and actually block them in business. So
Mhm.
you can implement the strategies all day long, but if the mindset's really not there, not a lot's going to happen. So I just work on mindset first and we really kind of get that strong and going. And then we implement strategies and we see growth. So that's what I help my clients do.
So I met Maria Angelica when we were at Jordan Gill's Q2 Strategy Saved Me Mastermind. That's where I know her from. I am so glad that she is part of my world. But she is the first person that told me she was a certified mindset coach. And I was like, really? Like you don't
What's
seem like
that?
you're that woo woo. So I want to start with the mindset because of course that's where
Mhm.
you start in your business and with your client. But as a photographer, I feel like the mindset that we talk about most for photography is money mindset. Like they
Mhm.
don't want to charge sustainable prices, but you approach mindset from a slightly different perspective. So how is it that when someone comes to you and they're ready to work with you, how is it that you determine what their current mindset blocks are and how you're going to create a plan to kind of work through them to get them to the other side?
I love that question. And I love the idea that it didn't seem very woo woo at the beginning. And, I think that's a beautiful intro to the fact that, mindset is actually something we do whether we think about it or not, right? We all have a mindset, right? In the woo, you can decide if you want to pull out tarot cards and crystals and be that person if you want to. And that's fine. No shame. No, not at all. But with mindset, you actually can't escape it. It's a part of your everyday life. And you might not just not notice that it's happening. And mindset is really the conversations you have with yourself day to day that you are likely not paying attention to or not listening to. So when a client comes to me, usually they'll think they know, right, what they want to work on, right? And that's the nature of almost anything, any client related industry. A client will come with their idea of what will solve their problem. So they might come and they'll say, "Hey, I've had my business for 4 years. I have steady income, I feel good about what I'm making, but I just can't grow. I'm trying all these different marketing strategies. I am putting myself out there more, I feel and I'm just not growing. I'm plateauing."
Hmm.
And usually they'll be like, "So can you help me come up with some new creative marketing strategies or what else can I try that will actually really be a wow in my industry and get the clients to really buy from me?" And what I actually start with is talking about how they see themselves in business, how they have seen maybe their parents handle business or money or growth or career initiatives that they wanted to take on, how they see the idea of growing to the size that they're thinking about. Because when we say we reach $250,000 a year, say something like that, a lot of people would say that's a great income. That's more than I ever thought I could make in my business. And so inside of you, there's already this settling and complacency with the fact that you've arrived, but then you're told you're supposed to keep growing, right? And so you're coming here with the idea that yeah, I'm supposed to do these marketing things because I'm supposed to grow my business. But deep down, you're cool, you're fine. And you're not that driven anymore to get to that big number. And so that's what I really try to figure out first is what does it actually look like for you to want to grow this marketing business? What would it actually bring to your life? Can you picture that even? Or are you just trying to grow because you're just supposed to? And that's where
Hmm.
I start to figure out where they're at on their mindset. Because a lot of them will probably be like, I mean, I don't know. You're supposed to grow. You're supposed to make more money. You're supposed to, I don't know, have more clients. And they can't really even verbalize what it looks like for them to be at $500,000 a year. Right. And
Yeah.
so that's where we start with the visualization, with the figuring out where they want to be. And then we can build backwards from there.
I mean, it almost sounds like defining what you want for success in your business and then also setting your goals, whether they're financial, or time related or whatever your goals are, it almost seems like when people reach those goals or they reach the definition of success that they thought they wanted when they started the business, that they don't know how to progress past that. It's like, okay, no, I hit
Yes.
this. And it's like, okay, so do I just keep on doing this like forever? Like, is there a next step? And as you said, there is a lot of push to like, okay, if you got to 250, like, why can't you get to seven figures? Like, I know that there's a
Mhm.
lot of push, and some people are
Yeah.
like, well, I mean, I might not want seven figures, but why don't you want seven figures? Like, is it that you're truly happy in the success that you have right now and you have built the life that you want? Or is it that you actually want to grow your business outside of other people telling you that that is just the next logical step for you?
Exactly. It's around figuring out what your internal definition of success is and then redeciding what that definition looks like over time because
Mhm,
we had a version of what that looked like before and when we start to not just make more money in our business but have more time freedom, really figure out like our systems are in place and so we all of a sudden have this time that we didn't have before. What does success look like now that you are doing the things you said you wanted to like maybe picking up and dropping your kid off from school because you wanted to be a present parent or you wanted to take like quarterly vacations with your family. When you are doing these things, then you have achieved your version of success. And so we need to redefine that. Is there something
mhm,
else there that's going to be the new driver for you for helping you grow and actually getting you to hit the next milestone? And that's when I see my clients, and this is the work that I love to do, like expand outside of your family. And that's when you start to think about, okay, I've reached these things that I really wanted, right? Maybe there's these two extra things I want to hit. But then what else can I do? Like, would there be like a foundation
mhm,
I may want to support? Would they be like a group I may want to start just out of my time because I really am passionate about talking to high schoolers? Like, this is where we start to envision new parts of your growth that maybe lead you potentially from at the beginning being a photographer to eventually being on stages talking to people about how important it is to be seen and to be seen in like your real life and not just have brand photos but have real life photos and like
mhm,
candid photos taken of you. And maybe that is an avenue you never would have thought of when you started your business because you just wanted to be a full-time photographer, makes good income, get your kids to school and have some vacation. But that vision does change and evolve and we do not take enough time to step back and say, what do I want now? And so that can be actually the plateau blocker for a lot of people because they haven't done that work and so they don't know what they're growing to. They just know they're supposed to grow. And so that's where they come with this, I want the strategy. And I'm like, hold up.
We're not at the strategy
Why?
part yet.
Yeah, like why, you know?
yeah. I mean, I feel like in my own business, I think I've always done a really good job of like reevaluating what success was for me and like what my income goals were because I was forced to because I basically grew my business as my capacity expanded from when Chloe was with me full time every day of the week, 24 hours a day, to then when she started preschool and she was only there 2 mornings a week for 3 hours. And then she expanded to 3 full days and then she was in school full time. I feel like every time that happened, I did sit down and I'm like, okay, I have more capacity now. What does my business look like in this season of life? And so I do think that not a lot of people sit down to like think about where it is that they should go next when things change, whether that's in your business or in your family life. I mean, it's a holistic approach to all of it, but these also are like layered on top of each other. Like I don't think that you can define success in your business constantly without considering the effects that it has on your outside family life, your personal life, all of those things.
Yeah, they're definitely intertwined. And so when you asked about photographers think about business, like, you know, money mindset, and that's the main thing that they go to, right? But is that true when it comes to, like, say you had a celebrity that wanted to have pictures done by you? There is a bunch of things that are going to come up in your mind around, like, who am I? Why are they talking to me? Well, like, this is whoever. Think of your favorite celebrity, right? They like go on your website, fill out your contact form, and then they want to take pictures.
I would
Like,
die. Ryan
you would
Reynolds
die.
and Blake Lively, if they ended up in my
Okay.
inbox, I would drop everything. I wouldn't even know if I still had a husband and a child. I would immediately go to wherever they were and photograph their families. I mean, I've never thought about that girl, but yeah, I
But
certainly would.
exactly, right? And being in a position, so this is beautiful that that would be like your response. And then I am sure at some point there would be some sort of like internal battle of like, why me? Like you'd be so shocked, right? And so there's going to be a different response to that when you think about any photographer who would think about a celebrity stepping into your inbox, right? Being like, what would I feel if that were to happen? Would it be just like pure excitement and joy and like I'm gonna drop everything, let's go. I'm so ready? Would it be like, I don't have the right gear for that. I'm not I don't have it. Do I need more assistance? I'm not ready. Or who do they like? Who am I to go and like photograph these celebrities? Like, I'm going to make a fool of myself. They're going to see that I'm not actually as good as I think I am. Right. So imposter syndrome is going to come in, right? The lack of belief in your skills is going to come in. The lack of all of your past experience is going to go down the drain, and you're going to be like back to a newbie, and you're going to be like, no, I'm not good enough. And so those things are hiding under the surface, but we don't see them because we're not often in these situations where they're going to be surfaced. But when they are, we don't know what to do because we didn't know they were there. So doing the mindset work helps to uncover what is, I say always, like, I'm basically like shaking up the earth. And when you go to plant something and you have to like break the earth, right? Then you see all like the wet grossness underneath. Maybe there's a worm that comes out. Like there's all these, like, there's all this crap that's under there, right? But you don't see it because you just have this flat ground that you water every now and then and flowers bloom. But underneath, there's some stuff that we haven't dealt with. And so that's where I like to be. I like to be in that like grossness with people, because it's really where change happens. Because when you're ready for that celebrity to pop in there and you know truly that you are definitely where you're supposed to be, this is exactly, of course, they're going to hire you. Like, of course, you're one of the best in your industry. Of course, because you're this type of person. If that's your immediate reaction, you're good. We can move on to the next thing. But if it isn't, then there is stuff underneath that's going to surface, not just with celebrities, but with maybe somebody you look up to, whether
Mhm.
it's in business, whether it's a brand photo shoot that's going to happen, and someone that, maybe a millionaire that you've been following for a while is going to come into your inbox and be like, come take photos of my brand. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, who am I? So we want to address those before that happens, because that is also a limiter to growth. Because if you can't think that you're good enough to photograph those people or work with X client, right? Then how can you get to that level of growth if you don't even think you're good enough yourself, let alone having a team or etc.
Okay, how is this related to confidence? I feel like I have spent a lot of
Mm-hmm.
time talking about confidence. I recently had something on my Instagram where I said, I have finally identified that the problem that most of my clients struggle with is that no matter how much instruction I give them or how much time they spend building systems for their business, a lot of them don't hit publish and don't start to use these automated systems because they lack the confidence that they will actually work. And as I was hearing you talking about the mindset and the celebrity contacting me, I mean, I have enough confidence, and I do have really good gear, by the way, but I
Mm-hmm.
have enough confidence to where I feel like if they contacted me, maybe imposter syndrome would come in a little bit, but I would just be like, oh my God, like I am ready for this. How quickly can I get to LA or Canada or wherever they happen to be? But that is like my confidence in my work and what I can produce. So my question to you is, how is confidence, the idea of confidence, related to your mindset? And is it just about building up someone's confidence in the different areas that you have identified? Or is there a different piece that I'm just missing?
Yeah, I love that question, because I think confidence is what I would call the flower. It's the thing that blooms
That
after you've
grows.
done the
Okay.
work. Okay. It grows over time as you water it and you continue to, whether it's affirmations, whether it's you just need to show yourself more proof that you're capable, right? And it grows. But underneath it really is the idea of being seen for who you truly are and your full capabilities. And that usually comes, so they say, before you're 7, by the time you're 7, there's a lot about your personality that is like pretty much set. This is when your subconscious mind is really like leading the show, and everything that is being fed to it, it believes, right? And so this is when I find I do a lot of work with my clients where we do something called time techniques, where we actually basically in a meditation style setting, it's called an NLP session. We actually kind of travel back in time to when you were maybe
Okay.
7 or 6 or 5, and we do an exploration of like, when was the very first time you felt like, your voice didn't matter, right? Because that leads up to confidence. So maybe it was a parent continuously shushing you, or maybe it was an aunt that was like, You're a kid. You don't interrupt our conversation. You're not part of this conversation. Go play with the toys like this. You're not important in this conversation." And that might lead up to the fact that you were maybe 9 or 10. And it just continued over time. And you knew that it was just because you were a kid, but it was the messaging you heard over and over again. And to a subconscious mind, it believes everything it hears. It does not know how to define something by being like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. There's no logic to the subconscious mind. It just absorbs. Think of it like a sponge. And so everything that you heard repeatedly when you were a child is primarily what you're going to then actually be living in your adult life if we haven't addressed it. So if you heard this a lot, your logical mind when you're an adult is like, yeah, but that was because I was a kid. So obviously, I wasn't allowed to speak to the adults when I was a kid, and I was hushed a lot, but that's just because I was a kid and you're trying to almost rationalize what happened, or you might not even think about it. And then when you go off and you want to say record a video for your social, or you want to put yourself out there in whatever way and put out a message to the world about the way that you love to do photography, right? And how it's different from somebody else, or how you believe in this one particular way of doing something. The fear isn't just like, oh, I don't think it's going to work. There's an underlying belief there that what you say does not matter, or your voice is not important enough. You don't need to speak. You are not worthy of speaking to X people. And so it feels unrelated. Like when you just hear about it naturally, you're like, oh yeah, like, I mean, I feel like I would just know that that was just when I was a kid. But it does actually trigger that inner child response of, it's not safe to speak, so I won't. And so when we are trying to do something that contradicts our safety, then our body and our entire reaction is going to be like, no, 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 let's stay safe. Let's not put ourselves in
Mhm.
danger. Why would we do that? And so putting out a photo might seem super simple to some people. And for other people, it's a huge inner battle between, and they might not even know that that's the battle they're having. And that's why some of this work is really important, because somebody else can kind of surface it for you. But that is the inner battle sometimes. And we see our clients and we're like, why won't they just post the picture? Why won't they just do the thing? Right. And there's this underlying thing that they're struggling with, and they can't really vocalize it. They can't put words to it because they're not aware that that is a belief they've been carrying their whole lives. And it might translate to other ways of showing up in business, right? It might be that they're not afraid to speak up to a client that is being toxic, or that is like
Mhm.
really harming them, like verbally or in whatever way, because they feel like their voice does not matter as much. So there's a really big difference in confidence and how it grows, because when you get to unblocking those things, that's when you can start to reaffirm or redefine what your voice might means to you. And so that's when you can start to do some of the, basically you're rewriting those beliefs into new
Mhm.
ones, right? Of, no, my voice matters. What I have to say brings worth and light to the world. I have great ideas. I am intelligent, and whatever it is that needs to be said to you specifically. And this isn't just like blanket affirmations you're going to find on like Pinterest. These are things that you really needed to hear when you were that age. And how can we say them now to the adult version of you, so that they start to basically shift, right? And rewrite that story. And so that when you go to post something, the first thought that comes to mind is like, my voice matters. I am intelligent. I have worth, and I say things that matter. Whatever it is, whatever affirmation or mantra it is that you need to say. And that eventually makes it easier to hit publish time and time again, which grows that belief that, no, this is real. And look, I was safe. Nothing happened. Like, I was okay. And over time, that builds the confidence to believe that your worth does matter. And it becomes a lot easier to hit publish, turn on your camera and record a reel in 2 seconds and not overthink it, right? All of that translates over time. And sometimes we just put ourselves down so much because we're like, why can't I just do as many reels as other people?
Yeah.
Why do I have to record 20 times before I feel good publishing something? And that there's a lot of inner work there that I just wish I could hold more people through, because there's a lot of love that needs to be given to that inner child. So yeah, that's a long response, but that's
I mean,
really
it
where it comes
was, but
from.
I was just listening because I mean, that was all totally fascinating. I feel like because you gave me the perfect segue into video, but I feel like I want to take one step back, and I see the value of video, you see the value
Mhm.
of video, but I feel like I need you to like express that to the listening audience before we move into the next piece. So, why video? Why do you feel so passionate about people being able to show up as themselves and give their message through video, and not like, let's say, the written form or other kinds of messaging or
Mhm.
marketing that people do inside their businesses? Why is video queen?
Video is queen. I mean, really, it's the fastest way to grow trust within your audience. Someone hearing you speak, seeing your mannerisms,
Mhm.
connecting with your face expressions as you speak, feels immediately like they're having a conversation with you. And this is not like, a sales pitch video where you're like, it's not, this is not a commercial. This is you speaking your honest truth, whether it's in live format, whether it's on video podcast format, whether it's on something like a speaking reel where you're just talking for 30 seconds and that's it. You're just updating people on something, or you're sharing a thought that came to your mind about a certain way of, I don't know, something you saw in the morning and you wanted to share with the audience. Like, there is a way of making it feel like you're immediately related connected in some way to this individual you're seeing speak in front of you. And that is very difficult to build, or it just takes a lot longer to build through the written form, through photos, through simply just putting like, like a brand photo picture of you with like some meaningful text underneath. That does work. It's not that it doesn't. It's just what will actually get you most efficient use of your time to building those long connections and like deep connections with your
Mhm.
audience. Video is the way to go for that because it immediately connects you to another human. Connection is the most important thing, right? Like belonging is the most important thing. So seeing someone that connects and, sometimes, you'll be watching a video and you can't help but smile just because of the way that they're talking
Yes.
or they're sharing or your excitement. Like you're a great example, right? If somebody were to watch you on video, they would immediately smile. They would feel like they're talking to a friend. You're very personable and easy to talk to, right? And that comes with the confidence of building up, being able to speak so naturally as yourself. When we start on video, sometimes we're just like, I'm going to say 5 words and I'm going to turn it off. But when you get comfortable, it feels like you're talking to a friend. And that there's no faster way to build connection with your audience than to feel like everyone is someone that you can just reach out to and they're a friend in your back pocket.
I mean, so if someone is like absolutely terrified of
Mhm.
getting on Instagram, because I mean, I don't like to do lives. I don't re-record my videos that often. Like, I'm not someone that records and is like, oh, I hate that. Let me hit record again. I mean, usually you guys are getting the first take of everything, and I feel like everybody can tell that. I mean, my videos are not polished. I show up as I am.
Yeah,
Sometimes I've showered, sometimes I'm still in bed. I mean, you get what you get.
good.
But for those that are like really like fearful and have heavy mindset issues with getting in front of their camera and actually hitting recording, like what do you typically see is the first step to making someone progress towards being comfortable on camera?
So I actually find the first issue with people getting on camera, the first struggle they have is they don't like their voice. So before
Oh,
their looks, before the video quality or lighting or whatever, it's they do not, and you'll find this a lot if you ask anyone, like they won't like to hear themselves talk on video. Like they won't like to hear their own voice back to them. And I know this is hilarious for you, but you are not a traditional person that has this kind of problem. So let's put ourselves into the shoes of someone who does not have
I'm
a,
thinking to myself, I really don't mind hearing myself talk. I mean, James
yeah.
thinks that it's really weird that I get in my car and I listen to my own podcast. Now, guys, before you guys think that I'm like this really strange person, I don't listen to my solos. But like every time I put a guest episode out, because I'm not the one editing it anymore,
Yes.
I do put it on in the car in the morning when I'm driving, mostly to just remember what kind of conversation I had with my guest. But I'm typically like, "Oh my god, that was such an awesome conversation." And I usually send messages to like my guests and I'm like, "Okay, I forgot how awesome our conversation actually was."
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever been turned off by the sound of my voice. So I mean, I think it's weird to think about the fact that that's why I might be more confident on video is that I am not turned off by the sound of my own voice. But I mean, that's amazing. Continue.
So
I just
the
that was
no,
shocking.
it is, and it is actually incredibly common. So that'll be usually the first thing I hear is, actually I don't like to hear myself talk, like my voice, I just can't hear it on camera. Sounds different, sounds weird. And that's the first thing. So actually the first exercise I have some of my clients do is after we've done our NLP session. So the NLP session is really powerful, right? This is when we do our time traveling. This is when we do a lot of like inner work. There's a lot of tears. There's a lot of stuff that will come up that again needs to be said to this child. So I actually end up while we're in this meditation, I actually write a lot of that stuff down and I send it back to them in a meditation, like a recorded meditation, so they can hear it back. But the homework assignment is that they are now going to record a voice note on their phone, so a voice on audio recording on their phone, themselves saying these affirmations in their own voice, and this is what they're actually going to listen to every morning. Not my meditation, not like a podcast episode I have with like listen to this really beautiful affirmation. It's going to be their own voice saying the affirmation that they need to hear. And so they have to do this in the morning, at night, in the car, and get super comfortable just hearing themselves talk to the point that like they can let go of all of the first thoughts that come up, which is like, oh my gosh, I hate the way I say the letter S or whatever things come up and they do come up. And so when that homework assignment kind of passes, when they're feeling more comfortable hearing themselves talk, that's when then we move into video. So it's like a step
Okay.
gradual approach to encourage them to not just focus on one thing and then write off video altogether. So if we've gone across voice, which for me in my experience has been the biggest thing for people to get over, then we move into body confidence, what your face looks like. Like there is so much around our body image that gets really like laser focused on when we're going to get on video. So that's when then we now approach things around like, how do you view yourself? What's your definition of beauty? Like, why do you find that like other people belong in video more than you? Right. And a lot of people are like, I just don't have a face for video, or I don't look good on video. And these are the types of phrases that they'll say often. And so it's like, where does that come from? Why do you believe this? Who told you that you didn't? Right? Like, where's the evidence to prove to you that that is true? And usually there's zero evidence, right? Or there'll be like a history of bullying that has led to them not being able to show up. And so I'm so compassionate of, when I hear as a business, usually if I was just a business coach, I'm sure that I'd be a little bit more of like a stricter person of like, no, just post the thing. Like, let's get it done.
Just
Like,
do
this
it.
is
Let's
what you need to
publish.
grow. Just do it. Let's go. But with the mindset piece, I approach everyone knowing that everyone has a story that I'm not yet aware of. And there might be a lot more under the surface as to why they're not able to do the things that for a lot of us feel really easy and simple. And so we end up judging our clients, being like, they don't show up for themselves. They don't do the things I told them to do. They're not like as motivated as I thought. And deep down, they're struggling. And so figuring out how this entire history of bullying is coming up in the moment that they're about to hit publish doesn't it change it? Like it changes your view on how you can now be more compassionate and be like, okay, I see that. Now how can I help with that part? And it's not that everyone has that story, but it is common. And if it's not a history of bullying, it's like their mom always told them to like go on a diet. Or it's like something very particular that happened that now prevents them from seeing themselves as beautiful. And that it's really funny, but as a business coach, it's not like, oh yeah, I'm here to like help you see yourself as beautiful again. But it is a part of the journey because you're not going to be able to show up on videos often if you're like judging yourself hard every single time. So that's the next part is actually we have to address that and how you see yourself, your image, what you see reflected in the mirror. So then we do exercises around that. How do you speak yourself in the morning in the mirror? What things do you see in the mirror when they're reflected back to you? You're supposed to be able to say certain types of things to yourself in the mirror. Always try to find 3 beautiful things about yourself every time you look in the mirror. So we do these types of exercises to build up that confidence. Eventually now, when you show up on camera, right, they'll come up, but you have
The skills.
tools, right? And skills to be able to work through that. And then that's how then we get to getting on video. And that's the next stage. Then other things will come up, right? Then the strategy comes on. Be like, what are you going to
That was
say?
what I was about to ask. Because like that's the big part is getting
Mhm.
them to be able to hit publish. But I
Yeah.
know a lot of people who struggle with the messaging in general.
Yeah.
Like, let's put the mindset apart. This is
Mhm.
when it actually comes to like putting your message forward, doing the actual
Yes.
marketing and sales activities. And so, are you coaching people on both at the same time? Or is it really that like the front part of the coaching is all about the mindset of getting yourself ready to be on video? And then like on the other side, like I'm so fascinated right now. Like what does the messaging part look like? What does it look like to work with you and get your business strategy down once the mindset of actually getting on video? I don't want to say it's taken care of because we know that this is like a
Yeah.
long-term
It's a
process,
long,
but
yeah.
hitting publish that first time and, like, leaving the video up, I'm imagining, and not wanting to automatically take it down from Instagram, I would imagine that that is, like, a huge goal met. And then it gets easier every
Mhm.
single time to hit publish, but I mean, I know the strategy and the actual messaging of what they have to say has to be such a huge part of that
Yeah.
transformation.
100%. I mean, the way that I work with clients is not often in like a one and done situation. Like,
Mhm.
let's do a coaching call and you'll be good to go. So I work with clients either in 6 months or 12-month kind of containers. And so in that journey, we do always start with mindset and then we work into the business strategy. So usually the way to work is we'll do an NLP session and then the rest of the calls will be business coaching sessions where mindset stuffs will come up. We'll address them as they come, but then the whole call isn't just around mindset.
Mhm.
And that's where we can start to blend both, right? Because then as we introduce a strategy, then they're like, I can see in their body language, they're like, they get tense or they like, are like, you want me to what? And then I'm like, okay, why is that coming up? And then we dig into that a little bit. But the strategy piece is super important because after they figured out that they can show up and that they're worthy of showing up, right? It's like, but what am I going to say? What do people even care to listen to? And that, I mean, as you know, with business, it depends so much on your industry, who you're
Mhm.
speaking to, what your actual goal is, right? Like clarity around the goal of your video is important. So, for example, you have a video podcast, you know what your goal is, right? It's to promote your podcast. It's to showcase your guests. It's to showcase that, hey, there's so much more value from all these different experts that are coming on. Come and listen to this. There is nuggets that are being dropped. And so they're like reshareable worth, like mic drop moments that you're going to be
Mhm.
sharing. And there is a strategy to why you're sharing the clips you're sharing, right? So if everybody were to go back and listen and watch some of the clips that you've shared from your episodes, they're not just like a random 15-second clip, right?
No,
It's a
there's
very
a lot of
strategic.
strategy with that.
Exactly. And that piece is important to figure out. And so a lot of people say, okay, great. So it's just me with my phone and I'm supposed to record something that's going to be impactful to people. And that's where I talk a lot about evergreen video content. And so
Mhm.
video content that's going to resonate with your audience no matter when they listen to it. They could listen to it in December, they could listen to it in March, and it doesn't matter. It's always going to land because it's delivering something that they always have as a problem. And so what are the key problems? And you've already done this if you're a business owner, right? You've addressed the problems that your audience has. You're figuring out how you're going to be solving them. But how do you communicate the problem in a way that they can feel really seen through video? Like whether it's with specific phrases like, listen, picture this. This is what your morning now looks like. You're waking up, your kids are making their own breakfast, but like you're painting a picture in their mind of like goals, right? And maybe at this point you're, I don't know, you're a baby sleep trainer. Like you help parents have kids that sleep through the night. And
Mhm.
so you're helping them visualize dream life, right? And it's different when they can hear it. Imagine yourself just doing an audio voiceover on top of like video view with your family in the morning, right? And so now they're like your storytelling as you're explaining and visualizing to your clients the ideal morning of your life because they don't have that morning because they've literally been up all night with their kids. So really introducing the strategy of like, what does your audience need to see to feel an emotional connection with what you have to offer becomes the next part of the work, which is like really fun. It gets more creative. It gets really fun, a little bit less tears. So it's just like, the next journey of working with me. I mail everybody that works with me like a gift, but also a box of Kleenex because it's just a
Oh,
joke that it's going to happen.
you're gonna
But
need
this is
it.
where it gets creative, right? And the strategy comes into play. And that's when it gets really fun and we can start to strategize. But then I don't see as much pushback from my clients around these strategies because we've addressed why it's important and how they are capable of doing so. And so now when they implement, it lands because they're doing
Mhm.
it from a place of not pushing and struggling and doing it anyways. And like, this whole doing it scared, I believe in doing it scared, but I also believe in doing it with intention and with belief and true belief in yourself, not just like, I'm terrified and this feels scary and unsafe for me. I always want to make sure my clients are operating from a place of safety when they're implementing anything in their business. And that word may sound strong to some people, but it's truly what it is for people.
No, and like that whole do it scared. Like you're supposed to do it scared 1, 2 times. After that, you're supposed to figure out a way for you to not continue to be
Exactly.
scared every time you do it. Like I don't think
Yes.
that do it scared was ever intended for like for the next 6 months, you just do it every day scared. No, that's not where it's at.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
I think I want to slightly pivot because one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you that, you and I have had this conversation
Mhm.
together is like front end video versus back end video. Because I feel like there is a lot of coaching around doing the reels and doing the Instagram videos and putting yourself on YouTube. And there
Mhm.
is not as much emphasis on like how you can create really good experiences for your clients on the back end using
Yes.
video. Like if you have a course and you are
Yes.
presenting some of your material, whether it's the core of the curriculum or it's just like additional videos where you're giving people an overview. But so what do you think is the benefit of back end video when you're not like seeking to have a bigger audience? You're really just improving the client experience that you're giving the people who are already in your like paid client realm.
Okay. I'm obsessed with this question. Um So the primary video work that I do with my clients, so I'm a certified mindset and business coach, but I also do videography
Mhm.
for specific clients for this kind of work, specifically the back end. Their programs, the actual their signature programs that they created a long time ago with screenshots or some sort of slideshow with voiceover. And that's like the meat of their program is like, here, consume this content, right? And maybe I do have a great email sequence that goes out with that supports them throughout the course. Maybe there's some sort of Facebook group or some sort of community group that also supports them throughout your program. And that's like the meat of your program right now. So The work that I love to do is to look at that client journey from the very beginning, from the moment that they had purchased, right? So after you've done the front end video of like selling them on the
Getting
program,
them. Hmm.
when they receive that first video, that first email, I truly believe that video needs to be there. An excited as heck video of how proud you are that they bought the thing, that they showed up for themselves, that they invested in this, whatever it is. Like an excited, to combat that buyer's remorse that often happens
Yes.
with bigger ticket purchases, like immediately in their inbox, like a gif of you with confetti, like just a lot of excitement around the thing that they've done. And then it doesn't just end there. Like how can you almost like hold their hand throughout it? And the biggest thing for people is that usually they've either come from doing one-on-one work or they are so accustomed to like really being there present with them. And so when they create a program, they're just like, okay, well, here's my program. Hope that it's enough. But how would you actually communicate if you had a one-on-one experience with your client and imagine this program wasn't, evergreen, it was actually a one-on-one experience? What would that look like? How many
Hmm.
touch points would you have with your clients? And then turn each one of those touch points into a video. So for example, if you're going to then have something that is like, hey, let's make sure that you have the tools you need to get the program started. I want to make sure that you have this kind of notebook or this kind of camera or whatever it is that they need to do your program. Don't put that just in an email with a
In a
to-do checklist
list.
of things. Like put it there and then have a video that is excited about like, okay, I'm so excited to start with you, but like the first day of school, let's make sure you have your tools ready to start. And so it's your personality, right? They feel seen, they feel held, they feel like they're literally walking the course right alongside you. I always also think about celebration moments or milestone moments within your program. So if your program has 3 phases or 2 phases, introduce the phase with a video. Cap the phase with a video that celebrates that they finished phase 1. Help them with that like achievement of like, okay, you've achieved this thing. Now let's move to the next thing. Think about all the little like moments of delight that you could add. Is there a moment in your course that maybe they unlock a surprise video that is like, okay, I didn't want to tell this to you at the beginning because I didn't want to overwhelm
But
you,
here's
but here's some like really important like tips that I wanted to implement. And like, I didn't want to tell you about this before, but you're ready for it now. Like these little surprises right along the way, they change the entire journey of your client going through this program so that, like you said, the clients that you already have, the improvements you're making, they are not going to be able to shut up about you. Like, they're just not, because they're going to feel like they were with you the entire way. And like now you're their best friend. Like that's the feeling you want when they finish your program. And then at the end, what does the end period look like? Right. So they close off with you, you have a closing video for them. And is there something that maybe drops into their inbox like 3 months later, being like, hey,
yes.
just wanted to pop in and see like how you're doing. Let's connect. I'd love to see what wins you've had since the program. And then that leads you into testimonial strategy, right? So their video can really be the all-encompassing kind of glue and the true, like the thing that actually raises the value of your program. You can raise your prices when you've done professional video for your program in this way. And it helps you truly believe like they are held the whole way through. Like nobody can die.
Yes.
Like no one's going to fail with this program because I am made sure that every single moment was perfectly intentionally curated for what they needed to hear at a certain time. And then you can feel really confident raising your prices, talking about it more. It changes the way you talk about your program because already you're going to know like it's so much better. And when you believe that, your clients believe that.
I don't know. I don't even know where to go next. Like everyone, I hope that she has convinced you in the 38 minutes that we've been talking that everyone should be doing video. And one of the reasons that I was so excited to hear you talk about that is because I'm always really baffled by the people who put so much energy into the reels. And I mean, I'm not even talking about like content driven reels, content driven video. I'm talking about like the new audio of the week and they're doing the
Mm-hmm.
dancing and
Oh
the
my
pointing
gosh. Yeah.
as we were laughing about before. But I never understand someone taking so much time and energy to produce the videos that are like forward facing on all your social media platforms, maybe even on your website, but they don't put forth that much effort after someone has paid you money. And it's like
Mhm.
they really felt like they got to know you on the internet, which is why they decided to hire you in the first place. It's that know, like, trust. It's confidence that you were going to deliver what you said. But then they get to your program and you're not holding their hand in the same way that you did when you were marketing towards them on all of the social media platforms. So I think having a cohesive video strategy from the beginning when you are still trying to market towards people to the very end when, they've reached the end of their program and whether or not you have something else to offer them or you don't, that is still not the end of the journey. Like you can use video in a really great way to solicit those testimonials or to get them to refer their friends to you. Like it's not the end. And I feel like a lot of people get to that delivery date and it's like, okay, you're done. Thanks for hiring me. And it's like, that's it. And it's like, I never understand.
Yeah. That's the missing link for a lot of people. And that's why we have clients that feel like they were a transaction because it's like, oh, you painted this picture that you were like always there and like, always in my feed, always showing up for me. And then in the course, I got your program, I'm getting the material that I purchased, right? But that's it. And although they may not be able to vocalize that that's why they're not as satisfied, right?
Mhm.
Or maybe that's why they're not as like, it's just like, oh, okay, I learned the thing, right? How can you improve that experience so that that person like cannot stop talking about what a wonderful journey they had. And when we can really focus on truly improving the experience of each individual person that goes through the program, that's how we grow because then your marketing efforts don't even have to try as hard because
Yeah.
the amount of work that they're doing for you is exponential for the experience that they had. And that's true for even programs we've been a part of together, right? Like we know when things are delivered in a certain way and when people really take intention around like crafting an experience for you, you're not going to stop talking to people about it. You're
Nope.
going to show up to their future things. You're going to buy their next thing because you know that you're supported the whole way through. So it's just a really good business practice to be able to get into and just remembering that at the end of the day, it doesn't end when they hit purchase, right? That's actually where it starts.
Mariangelica, I literally have nothing else to ask you. I think that this was like one of the most amazing conversations that I have had on this podcast. If people are interested in hearing more about you and perhaps this awesome affirmation calendar that you have or video services, because I mean, I told you when we got together in June that I want to see you doing more of that because I think that people struggle. They struggle with the technical, they struggle with the messaging, they struggle with having the confidence to get on video. And you are like the person that can solve all of those things for them at once. So, where can people find you on the internet to learn more about you? And guys, once you get into her world, you are never going to want to leave. I'm just warning you.
Thank you for that. So you can find me on Instagrams where I live at honest.ceo. And then you can get the affirmation calendar. It drops on the first of every month. And it's actually a desktop background you can put on your desktop. It has affirmations you can listen to. There's some little exercises. There's some mindset things you can do there, like some of the little exercises I shared with you earlier. And that is at honestceo.co/calendar.
And I will have all of this in the show notes. Girl, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. This was a blast.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
All right, everyone. That's it for this episode. See you next time.